The First Love Story. Long before the Aoela people sailed the seas or settled the many islands given to them by the goddess Mauriu, and in fact long before there was even a Mauriu at all, there existed only two things: the vast and unending ocean that made up the goddess Sudaiba, and the infinite sky where the primal and mindless wind soared without dominion. When the wind blew against the surface of the sea, it created the most enchanting rhythms, and Sudaiba sang out and added in celestial melodies. She loved to sing, but unfortunately, there wasn't anyone else around to hear her, or to sing with her. While there were certainly sea creatures living in the ocean, none of them could truly appreciate her skills or her creativity. For 1,000 years, Sudaiba's heart ached with a constant throbbing that wouldn't relinquish. The world was a vast and empty place, especially for one who endured without change. However, one day something did change. A brilliant light appeared in the sky for the first time. Soothing warmth caressed Sudaiba's cheeks, and the surface of the ocean sparkled in the presence of this strange new thing, or rather, this strange and fascinating person. Her name was Aoela, and she was a goddess of the sun. Sudaiba gazed up at the sun, and yet her words were stolen from her. She had never seen something so beautiful. It was only when Aoela remarked about the splendor of the vast sea that Sudaiba found her voice. Rather than speak, Sudaiba sang out for the sun goddess, a song that carried the mystery of the depths of the ocean in its notes, lyrics, and intent. To repay Sudaiba for the lovely song, Aoela performed a mesmerizing dance across the sky. A dance that told of ancient events and stories taking place in far-off places. After she completed her dance, Aoela asked Sudaiba many questions about the vast ocean. Sudaiba answered them, and asked many questions about the far-off places Aoela had hailed from. They rejoiced in one another's company. When Aoela made it to the far end of the horizon, she revealed that she needed to go to sleep, but she promised to return as soon as she could. Sudaiba promised that she would welcome Aoela back when she returned. As soon as Aoela disappeared below the horizon, an all too familiar yet unwelcomed chill returned to grace Sudaiba's skin. She had lived with that cold for as long as she could remember, and it never bothered her before. Basking in the warmth of light, and in Aoela's passion, had spoiled her. She began to sulk when another something new appeared in the sky above her. Thousands of twinkling lights began marching across the horizon from where Aoela had first appeared. This unique splendor was unlike the beauty of the sun, and it carried its own sense of mystery. A majestic being flew at the center of the great blanket of twinkling lights. The god peered down at Sudaiba and immediately complimented her on her vast and unsurpassed sense of radiance. When Sudaiba returned the compliment, saying that she had never seen anything quite so breathtaking, the god smiled. He introduced himself as Kavita, the god of stars. Sudaiba asked him if he knew Aoela, for the goddess of the sun had come upon her that same day. Kavita revealed that Aoela was his sister, and they were both in search of a new home. Like the goddess of the sun, Kavita moved across the sky toward the distant horizon. While he did, Kavita and Sudaiba traded stories, songs, and jokes. It was most enjoyable. When Kavita made it to the edge of the horizon, Sudaiba asked if she would ever see him again. The god of the stars vowed to return once more. As soon as the star god was gone, Sudaiba whirled around to see Ueda appear on the far end of the sky. And so that cycle continued for hundreds of years. Sudaiba spent her days with Ueda and her nights with Kavita. With each day and night, the conversations became more tender and endearing, and Sudaiba's heart swelled with immense power. She began to eagerly anticipate the comings and goings of both siblings, and this longing grew even more intense. However, in addition to that intensity, a great fear started to awaken in the deepest parts of the sea goddess's heart. She adored Ueda because she had a warm smile. She allowed her passions to flourish unbridled, and she often inspired Sudaiba to sparkle brighter than what she could have ever hoped to do on her own. Conversely, Sudaiba favored Kavita because of his maturity, intellect, and his calm demeanor. Just being around the god of the stars, Sudaiba found herself more relaxed. Sudaiba cared for both of them, for different reasons. How could she choose one over the other? The mere thought of losing Ueda in favor of Kavita, or vice versa, sent horrid vibrations throughout her core. It was so devastating a quandary that she openly cried. To her surprise, both Kavita and Ueda came to her together, in hopes to console her despair. They asked the sea goddess what bothered her, and she reluctantly told them. When Sudaiba finished her explanation, she closed her eyes and braced herself, for she anticipated the worst. Kavita and Ueda wrapped their arms around her, hugged her tightly, and kissed her on her cheeks. They told Sudaiba that she would not have to choose between one or the other, that she could have both the sun and the stars. They both adored Sudaiba in the same manner that she adored both of them. This time, when Sudaiba wept, both Ueda and Kavita wept with her. Once they regained their composures, Sudaiba promised to love both of them equally and distinctly. And Ueda and Kavita promised to support Sudaiba's capacity for being able to love both of them fiercely, while responding with the same levels of intimacy. Sunrises and sunsets are sacred to those who carry love in their hearts, for they are given to the Aoela people to remind them that love comes in all forms.